And I got to see Jeff work firsthand the entire year, and I've kept up very closely with that entire staff since I left. And an outstanding group of coaches, and Jeff is included in that. Very detailed, very organized, excellent teacher. Everywhere he's been, his units have been extremely productive. He's an outstanding recruiter. The main thing I can say about Jeff Choate is he has unlimited energy, and he brings it every day. And it reflects on the players. The players that he coaches tend to adapt to that, and I'm excited about having him. The other coordinator, Patrick Higgins. Patrick and I go way back. We actually grew up in the same area. We went to the same high school. Patrick was a lot smarter than me. He was a class valedictorian. I was a little farther down the list. But outstanding coach. Patrick brings a wealth of experience. Patrick has been a head coach. He's been a coordinator on the offensive side of the ball. He's been a special teams coordinator. He's coached pretty much every position on the offensive side of the ball. We worked together here at UTEP. We had a great working relationship when we won the WAC conference in 2000. Patrick was the coordinator at the time, and I was the offensive line coach. And that's an important factor, people working together and knowing you can work together. So again, I'm not unfamiliar with either one of these guys. And Patrick has had an outstanding career since leaving UTEP, being at Louisiana Tech and BYU and Purdue. And I've had a chance to watch Patrick closely the last few years because my son plays at Purdue and has nothing but utmost respect, as all the players do there, for Patrick. So I've got two young, outstanding coaches with energy, both extremely intelligent, both with outstanding work ethic, and both that I think everybody in Miner Nation will be real proud of.
Coach, follow up with that. Are you going to have any hands-on with either the offense or the defense, or are they going to run the show?
They're going to run the show. Again, I've always responded myself to coaches that let you coach. These guys are certainly going to be allowed to coach the style that they want to coach. And I'm not going to interfere with that. I want to stay involved. I want to know what's going on. I want to have, a handle on everything. But no, I'm not going to call plays. Probably my main thing will be the management of the coaches, and they will manage the players, and I'll manage the entire operation. But these guys are going to coach, and they're going to do a great job.
How do you expect the offense and defense to kind of mesh together in a system that you want to build here?
Well, one of the things that we're going through right now is we're trying to get on the same terminology, what we call offenses, formationally, defensive, fronts, coverages, and stuff like that, so we can communicate well as a staff. So that's a process we're going through right now. We're kind of just laying down the foundation for the program this week. We really haven't got into football that much. We're talking more about what we want to establish with the players in forms of accountability and discipline and those type things. And that's what we're working towards now. Our main goal this week, before we have a weekend of recruiting, is to set our spring calendar, the dates, and then set our philosophy that what we want to do in our program.
Either one of these guys going to be special teams coordinator?
We're going to do a unique thing on special teams. Both of these guys have been special teams coordinator and been outstanding special teams coordinator. We're not going to have the title of a special teams coordinator on anybody. The offense, all the coaching staff is going to be involved in the return units, the kickoff return and the punt return. And then defensively, they are going to be in charge of the coverage units, kickoff cover and punt cover. The coaches will handle that. And the reason I want to do that is, again, I want accountability. We want to be able to cover kicks and pin the defenders deep, cover punts, and establish field position, and the defensive coaches and myself will be responsible for that. On the offensive side of the ball, we want to start the ball in good field position, whether it be a punt or a kickoff return, and the offensive coaches are going to be responsible for that. The coordinators will be working with those units, as will all of the position coaches and myself. So it's going to be a group.
I can take coaching.
Coach, going back to your last day here in 2003, I imagine it was probably a little traumatic. Did you ever think you were going to see this day again coming back here?
You never say never. I've had fond memories of UTEP. I've followed the progress that they've had here, and it's always good to come back home. And I consider this home. I met my wife here. So I have great memories of this place, and my wife is excited to come back, and we're excited to do some great things here.
Talk about working with Sean here at UTEP.
Oh, when Sean and I were here, actually, the reason I came to UTEP was because of Sean. I was coaching at Columbia back in I'm going to date myself now, back in 1997. And I got a call from Sean and say, hey, they're looking for a wide receiver coach. Would you be interested in coming down? I said, heck yeah. Little did I know that the only reason that I was hired is because no one else would take the job for the pay, what they were paying. But that's where I met, I knew Sean back from high school, and then when we coached here, and we had a great working relationship, and like he said, we won the WAC in 2000, and that was a great experience, and we've just kept in touch with our progress. And when he went to Boise, I knew that. When he went to Buffalo and Detroit and everything like that, and actually a couple of times he tried to get me hired up at Detroit. And a funny story, he goes, hey, I talked to Marty, you're one of 4 guys we're looking at, so stay by your phone tomorrow. And I get up the next morning, I'm recruiting in Dallas, and I see across the bottom of the screen, Marty Moynihan has been fired by Detroit. I'm like, well, I guess that gets rid of that job offer. So, but it's been fun. We followed each other, and like he said, we've gotten closer the last couple of years because his son is an offensive lineman at Purdue, and we just kind of kept in really good communication.
Did you guys kind of joke about something like this happening when you were in high school?
Not in high school. High school, you're just a bunch of dumb jocks, just running around. But yeah, as we got older, we always said, hey, it would be great to work together and try to put the program together and try to build something from the ground up. And that's the one thing that Sean's really good with. He gives you the opportunity to build something new. And we're coming in here with no preconceived ideas, and that's what I've told the offensive staff. I said, hey, we have a unique opportunity here to build an offense, to be creative. We can think outside the box a little bit, and we don't have to be tied down by all the norms, because Sean has taken those things off of us. He's like, hey, you do what you think is right. I'm going to help you what I can, but be creative. Do something different, and we're going to try to be as creative and be productive as possible.
How have things changed here in the last 9 years?
Some of the stuff down in Cincinnati has changed, but a lot of the people remain the same, which is good. That means the school is stable and all that kind of good stuff. But not too much has changed. The west side is really grown. From where I lived on the west side before, and I drove out there the other day and I go, wow, there's a lot more houses out here. But and I've been back. We've had good. My wife and I had good friends in El Paso, so we've been back here probably 5. I've been gone 10 years, probably about 5-6 times. So it's not like it's new to us. And again, we were glad to come back.
Coach, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the roster just yet, but last year offense was a big struggle here for the Miners. What do you think, first, with the quarterbacks you're going to be having, and 2, what are some of the changes we can expect on offense?
Well, I'm going to reserve comment on both of those because, like I said, we're building the offense right now. And we're going to build the offense around the talent we have. So we may go in into spring ball with one type of idea, but we may come out knowing what we have with a completely different type of idea. And that's one thing as coaches, sometimes we get so pigeonholed and I know this, I know this, I know this, instead of adapting your scheme to what the kids do best. And that's what we're going to try to have, an offense that is very multiple and very adaptable, so we can give the kids and put the kids in the best possible position to succeed. And then that's what we want to do with that part of it. So right now I can't really give you a good answer on that.
Anything else?
Nothing good? Come on, give me something good, people, to work with here.
Well, okay, talk about just the way it ended in 2003. Was there any bitterness at that time? Or?
No. When you're in this profession, you're going to get fired, you're going to have down times, you're going to have bad years, but you can't blame people for doing their job. And at that time, Coach Stahl thought a change was needed, and just, so you move on. And that's the one thing that, if I was angry and upset and you burn your bridge, you never burn your bridges. Because if I did that, would I be standing here right now? Probably not. But I kept in touch with people, and you always leave on good terms. And I had no hard feelings, and nor do I have any hard feelings, because people have to do what they think is best for the program. And at that point in time, in all honesty, that probably was the best for the program, because the next 2 years after that, Coach Priceson and went to back-to-back bowl games. So obviously the change was for good, and hopefully this change is for good. And that's what we're looking to do. We good?
Cool.
It's really good to be here. Number one, the thing that attracted me to this opportunity was Coach Kugler. and the relationship that we had at Boise, and how much I respected him as a teacher, as a man, as a leader. And I know that he, the one thing about this business, and I know Patrick talked about this a little bit, is not very often do you get an opportunity to work with people who really share the exact same values that you do. And I know that Patrick and I have talked about that already, and how unique it is for us to have the opportunity to do that, and be a part of what Sean's going to build here, and really progress on the things that Coach Price and his staff did. And so we're excited about that opportunity. It's a young, dynamic staff. We call ourselves the Young Guns on defense. And we've got a lot of young guys that have a great deal of energy, some tremendous players in their own right. And I know that they're going to do a tremendous job of getting these guys going.
What kind of defense is it going to be?
We're going to be multiple. We're going to base out of a 4-2-5, similar to what you see at TCU. We're going to have a lot of 3-4 elements in our pressure package. And it's going to look a lot like what we did at Boise State. We've got 3 members of the defensive staff either coached or played at Boise State, and that system has been in place for a while, and I think we've got a lot of good answers out of it. But I also think that, as Patrick noted, we've got to maximize the talent that we have here, and put our kids in the best position to win. I think Coach Patterson did a tremendous job of laying a great foundation here on the defensive side of the ball, and we're excited about continuing that.
I guess is recruiting the big thing?
It's always the big thing. I mean, that's the lifeblood of any program, and obviously that's a huge focus for us right now, getting out on the road and identifying the kids that we feel like can fill some holes for us, as well as getting out there and loving up the guys that were committed to Coach Price and his staff, and making sure that they're welcomed by Miner Nation as well.
Can you talk about the challenge of replacing a lot of the starters that graduated?
Yeah, in the secondary, I know that in particular there was a lot of talent there, and that is going to be a bit of a challenge. I think we've got some really good guys in place that we feel very good about, and that can step in and compete immediately. We're probably going to have to go find a junior college player or two to be able to fill some of those voids in the short term. And so that's always, there's always turnover. Every year it's a new team, and it's a new challenge, and that's what makes this job fun.
You see defense that's been heading in the right direction the last year or two. Have you looked at that much film?
Yeah, I have. I've watched a considerable amount of film, and have been really impressed. I think the thing that stands out, and I think that anytime you're a coach evaluating another program, one of the things that you're always looking for is effort. And I really feel like these kids played with excellent effort. And there's always going to be differences in terms of scheme and verbiage and those types of things, but if the kids play hard, you're going to have a chance to compete every week.
Just Coach, last year UTEP gave up tons of big plays. I know you said replacing some players in the backfield. What's one of those things you can address, or how do you plan on fixing that?
Well, I think that explosive plays on the defensive side of the ball are always things that are going to be your Achilles heel. I mean, you always hear that term, bend but don't break. In the NFL, there's teams that make a living. They give up a lot of yards, but they don't give up a lot of points. And ultimately, the only thing that matters is scoring defense. And so, a big part of that is explosive plays. I think that we've got to be smart about when we bring pressure. We've got to be very detailed in terms of how we're fitting runs, and we've got to be intelligent about knowing where the playmakers are on the other side of the ball and helping guys to cover up some of those guys. And so those are things that we're working through as a staff right now. And I think that you're going to see a product that you're really going to like. I think it's going to be very, very aggressive. I think we're going to play with a tremendous amount of energy, and I think it's going to be something that the people here in El Paso will be fired up about. We're talking about kind of our defensive creed in there a couple of days ago, and I was like, what about the El Paso posse? You think we can get the El Paso posse out there and regulate a little bit? It's something that, we can kind of hang our hat on, and I think it's going to be aggressive play. It's going to be tremendous effort, and it's going to be high energy.